We're going to teach you some secrets about buying being cheaper than renting. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you the suburbs. Billy, the old man in a young man's body.
Hello, top of the morning to you, sir.
How are you?
Really good, really good. It was it was a bit of a cultural weekend it was a bit of a cultural weekend for me and the family. Not only did I watch Queen, we also listened to some records.
Did you watch Queen with the oldies?
No, I watched on my own.
So
Yeah.
we were just saying off air that whenever you're living a couple suburbs away in a suburb called Mossman.
Yeah, I'm about 20 minutes away from home.
20 minutes away. But when you go to see mum and dad, it's like servicing and filling up a petrol tank of a car. But it sort of annoys your dad a little bit. It feels like you're bludgeoning a little bit.
Yeah, well, if the parents watch this morning, mum usually does. I'm going to start bringing gifts when I come over for dinner, like just as if I was a friend.
It's just nice to know that you're putting in as much as you're taking out. I think when you take a gift, it sort of tops it up a bit. It equalises it a little bit.
Well, that's it. I turned up empty-handed last night and left with lunch for today, a meal last night, dessert last night, a haircut. It was like a goodie bag. I went home with a show bag.
God, you fatten you up like a chicken.
Yeah.
Now today's topic, you're pretty intrigued by.
Yeah, I love it. I think if you had the option to pay rent versus a mortgage, then you'd be crazy not to consider why you wouldn't be, buying something for yourself and paying it off. You can always rent it out if you choose to move or whatever.
It sounds right, and you know it's the right thing to do. And we're going to tell you some suburbs this morning where it's actually going to be cheaper to buy than to rent. It all sounds good, but in theory, why aren't more people doing it? What's making it so hard? I like playing the blame game. Whose fault is this? Is it affordability? Is it people that not pulling their finger out? Is it government not assisting enough? It's interesting, but it's a problem and a crisis for our country. I think we're always worrying about our kids and the younger generation getting into the market.
Yeah, it's the blame game is a good way to look at it, actually, because there's a lot of factors as to why people choose to rent over buying something for themselves. I think personally the biggest one would be, someone feeling like they're really committed and, like buckling down the hatches when they buy a house. They gets rid of all their options to travel and it's kind of like you've just got this liability hanging over your head. But a different way to look at it is, as I said, you can, rent it out if you don't want to live there anymore, or there's just so many other benefits as to owning property.
Worst case scenario, just rent it out and go and do what you want to do.
Yeah. Like if you move for work, leave it behind you and move on to another rental or whatever you want to do. But 10 suburbs where your mortgage will be cheaper than rent. And what's surprising is 2 of those suburbs are local.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff. Boy, a legend. Can you bring it up?
Yeah, well, I'm going to show it on here, and then I can move it over if we can't see it properly.
Oh, that helps. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how well you can see that, though.
Yeah, now bring it up on the computer. So one thing, and I know, look, renting, Lisa Kramer's said, hey, Lisa, renting is dead money. But, it is, look, not only is it dead money, But what I never see people entertain is the fact that you're investing. So tax wise, it's the only investment in Australia or profit you can make in Australia that won't attract a tax.
Yeah.
Denying yourself of that when you're renting. So you can make an investment that doesn't attract any tax. And what I mean by that is if you're a young whippersnapper and you get into something at 18, 19, 20 early, and you sell that property at 30, for instance, say you've lived there, you'd like to hope that it's doubled. That's what it's done for the last 100 years. So if you get in at 600,000 and you're selling it at 1.2 million, that 600,000 is going to be, that profit that you make is going to be tax free. That's huge. So not only are we talking this morning about these suburbs that are cheaper, but the investment you make, providing they're going to be a great suburb, it's going to be a tax-free kill. It's going to be great. In addition to that, the capital growth is important. So that capital growth that you're making, you're not going to get any capital growth with what you're renting. As a matter of fact, your landlord's going to get the capital growth. So you the landlord's mortgage, and then they are going to get the capital growth rather than you. Okay, can you zoom that up a little bit more, Billy Bob, please? Oh. Yes. Whoa. More. More. Go to top half.
Hang on. I'm going
to... Mo. Whoa. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Okay. So what have we got? Berkeley Vale, Belrose. So Belrose, okay, so if you're going to rent in Belrose, it's going to cost you $1,645. Whereas, what's your mortgage going to be? Sorry, your mortgage is going to be $1,655, and your rent's going to be $2,145. Wow.
And so there's a percentage of saving by owning in the suburb, which I love. And as I said, I'm so surprised that two of these suburbs are local because, there's a lot of talk around the Northern Beaches being, expensive. It's definitely not a cheap place to live. It's, everyone wants to live here. It's beautiful. But yeah, there's a couple of suburbs in here which are close to home, and then some others maybe closer to you.
What other ones you got there?
Winston Hills, Warwick Farm, Stanhope Gardens, Parkley, Granville, Wyong, Regent's Park, Narrowena. You love Narrowena? Big fan.
Big Wall.
Jamestown, Liverpool, Beaconsfield, Kemba, Merrifield, Schofield, Campbelltown, Gosford. So some of these you're breaking even as well. So there's maybe not a huge percentage saving. But you can see towards the top, there's some big savings to be made.
It's huge. Another thing is, I've got to say, and it's easy to say when you own a property, it's easy for you to say, but I do admit that they're scary numbers, because if you're a combined household income of say 150,000 or 180,000, this is a significant after-tax amount of money that you're putting towards something. And if you're not used to actually having that commitment, that's really, really overwhelming.
I agree.
And I say that the other day I was just thinking about it. I was in a unit in, I think it was, DY. And I worked out the mortgage rate, principal and interest, and the unit was, $800 million, around that sort of number. And I worked out that you'd have to come up with $800 a week to pay the mortgage. And I was like, that is a frightening amount of money. So do you know what the honest truth is? I reckon put the incentives aside, put the prices aside, put the money in, money out aside. It's just pretty intimidating, full stop. Like for a first home buyer, and I think the biggest reason these first home buyers aren't buying is it's just aligning your mind. It's just getting used to that massive cost that you're going to have coming in.
Yeah, but our head of property management, Branka, I love the way she, phrases it. And she was telling sort of me when I was a bit worried about this at the start, just use it as a piggy bank, as a savings account. And instead of seeing numbers in the green where your saving sort of goes up, just make sure you're saving enough to cover your mortgage and it goes out. And see the numbers come down off the total mortgage, right? It's a different way to look at it. But she said, just forget what happens to the property, and long term, just let it do its thing, let it run its track, and just focus on the short term savings coming off the mortgage. That's all you need to worry about. It's a good way to look at it.
So how are you feeling about it? Like, you're a year or two into it now?
No, not quite. Like 7, 8 months, 9 months. It was October. So yeah, like for me, it's just ticked along. It's kind of like you just add an expense into your budget, your weekly budget. Like when you get a new phone, you just factor in that expense. It's the same thing, really. It's just a bigger portion of the pie.
Do you ever go through like crisis moments where you just really stress?
Only when I think about buying another one.
Then you go, oh no.
No, then I go like, oh, well, how am I going to afford it when I've got this one poking me in the side of the ribs every month?
All the time. So I think out of today's episode, the big lessons are it can be cheaper, to buy rather than rent. And that's putting aside capital growth. You're going to make tremendous amount of money. Like you could make 60,000 a year, which is $1,000 a week more on your property, Billy, when you start tax free over a 10-year period. But you don't get that reward. You just get the pokes in the rib. But yeah, as like Brian said, you look at that medium term, long term, then you start seeing that reward coming through. Lisa Novak, real estate agent. What does Lisa Novak say?
Lisa always has really nice things to say. She's incredible. Yeah, it's been a busy week. We've done a nice, couple of deals. We've got some really nice property coming on, so it's a good time to be working 7 days. I'm not twiddling my thumbs.
Shit.
But yeah, you were saying off air, like the capital growth is the biggest part of this, which people forget.
That's the play, and it's tax free. That's the play. Because that's speculative, no one really banks that, because you can't sort of bank that weekly, monthly, or yearly. You don't know until the end your capital growth.
Yeah, true.
And then I guess you can't report the capital growth because you're sort of like, oh, is it going to do that in the future? You don't know.
Yeah, it's true. And it's kind of like when you then go and choose to sell for whatever reason, then you realise sort of how well you've done right at the end.
Big time.
I think that's
Billy Bob, the old man, the young man's body. Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. And 10 exciting suburbs there. Maybe maybe you should have a look at your own numbers, and hopefully that's helped someone.
Get into it. All right, legend. Take care.
Thanks, Mark. Bye.
Thanks, bye.